I am not exaggerating when I say it was a mess. It was truly a mess. Both of them, their favorite thing was like the banter. From a reader perspective, I was worried that the payoff wouldn't be there. Hey guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel. And today's gonna be kind of like a beta reader vlog slash delving deep into my beta reader feedback for Project Purple, the story that I made daily vlogs of during NaNoWriMo in 2018. It was in its second draft. I always write 0 drafts, so it was the closest to a second draft I've ever done on the actual second try of something before. Now, first up, I'm going to be having a semi-interview over Google Chats at my computer with one of my beta readers. She is the co-writer of Project White. I've talked about that story before too, and it is actually sitting right here. Now, I do have some specific questions for her, but I really only have a few major concerns. But what I've decided to do is I'm going to actually rewatch. Can I even find it? Where is it? This is too many videos. Okay, printing out my NaNoWriMo novel. When did I reread it? That's what I want. Rereading my NaNoWriMo novel. Okay. I'm going to watch this. Oh, I got an ad on my own video. So I'm gonna rewatch this so that I can actually get back into that mindset. I haven't reread the story in a while. All of my feedback's coming a little bit later than expected just because, you know what? Life gets in the way sometimes. So the feedback's coming a little bit later. I haven't read the story recently enough to have it fully in my mind, but I vlogged the experience, so I know what I was thinking. 2 whole months. Hey guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel. Now, if that ain't vlogception, I had 1, 2, 3 videos in one. I swear the next time I do this draft, I better include this clip. Things that I reference that I never bring up again. So somehow I'd actually forgotten that that was the case, but obviously as soon as I watched that I was like, oh yeah, there was like multiple scenes. So I could actually just grab Project Purple, although I lent out my copy, but I took notes. Oh, let me go get my notebook. This way I can fully prepare. You should be prepared if you're gonna be asking for beta readers' time when they're reading this. So, okay, I got my notebook. I can revisit this too. And here is my Project Purple reread notes. Da, da, da. It's just me right now. Look what I got back today! My copy of Project Purple. It's pink, it's fine. Which means that I've actually gotten the feedback from my second beta reader. That's why I have my copy again. I think the best first thing I can do is go through the feedback from my first beta reader. Now, as I mentioned before, one of my beta readers for this project is actually my co-writer on another story. And this is so up her alley that I was like, I have to give this to her to read. And read it, she did, and she gave me a huge compliment, and she thought this was like Allie Carter meets Meg Cabot, which I so appreciate. We actually bonded over our love of Meg Cabot when we got lost together in London. It's a whole other story. But that's an accidental kind of what I was going for sort of thing. So already this feedback was off to a really good start. Now, that being said, one of her big comments was all of the mess around Thanksgiving. This is feedback that I already knew based off of when I was reading Project Purple, but I just, okay, I'm going to make an Excel spreadsheet and actually have like, I have been calling it an outline, but really what happens is that I just dump tons of information. It's basically like a synopsis, but it's a very detailed, very in-depth synopsis where I actually go through, make a spreadsheet for things as well, pinpoint which chapter is where on what exact day, a day of the week, day of everything, because I have to get it mentally mapped in my mind. Otherwise, I end up with the mess like in this story right now, where I had an anchor point for Thanksgiving, but I made like 4 or 5 different events around Thanksgiving in the wrong order. It was, I am not exaggerating when I say it was a mess. It was truly a mess. And then my second beta reader reaffirmed that there was some trouble around Thanksgiving. Not only that, but just like even some earlier trouble with the timeline. And I was like, you know what? I bet you're right. So as far as like structural, very sure things that are going to be changing and needed to be changed, that happened. And something that they also both picked up on, and I think I picked up on during my reread, was that I refer to the incident as like multiple things. So many different ways. That's not what we want. We want one way. So anyways, unsurprising, naming could be better. Naming could be better. And then several of y'all in the comments actually helped me to know that I can just go ahead and put Disney World in for the location that she's kidnapped. I don't have to like do theme park redacted by publisher or anything kind of crazy. I'll just put Disney World, and ultimately, if or when this ever does get published, it'll be fixed. Someone will help me. But for right now, I'll put Disney World because that really tripped up both of them. They were like, is this funny on purpose or do you just not know what you're doing? And the answer is I just don't know what I'm doing. I also, I want to touch on something regarding beta readers really quickly because I didn't give them this time a whole lot of guidance on what I was looking for. This was very purposeful because I was worried about the last third of the novel, maybe not even the last third. I was worried that not only did the novel wrap up too soon, but also that the whodunit aspect, the who kidnapped Jenny and Prince Augustine, the why did they do it and all that, I felt like it's important to the novel so much as Jenny needs to feel like she's comfortable at the very end of things, like they've actually found the people responsible, like that is important. But who and why isn't central to the novel. Like that's not the story I'm telling. Does that make sense? So there is a whodunit element, but it's not like an actual mystery novel where the unraveling of the whodunit is the novel, is the story you're telling. From a reader perspective, I was worried that the payoff wouldn't be there. I was worried that people might actually have wanted the whodunit aspect. But, and the greatest thing of all for me, neither of them, they both felt like not only was it resolved, they also didn't feel like the tone of the novel ever led them to believe that the whodunit was really that important. So that, it makes me so relieved. And ultimately, both of them also liked the flow of the story and how things were kind of broken into successful thirds. They liked the teasing nature, and both of them, their favorite thing was like the banter between the characters. So as someone who loves that part the best, I think that is evident in my writing. The great thing is that they both gave me places they thought I could expand if I really wanted to, which is helpful. They both did not really notice the lack of Prince Augustine's mom in the story, but once I pointed it out, they were like, oh shit, yeah, you might want to fix that. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, true. So I have some decisions to make regarding that. That might be for a different video. Do I want to kill her off, or do I want to make her more integral? Because right now, she basically serves no purpose. It's basically like having her not exist. But I feel like I could do something with that character. The problem is, does it really add anything, you know? And you want it to add something. They both did mention a couple times that I have things that are referenced throughout that I don't ever bring up again. I don't know if that could, I think that kind of goes along with timeline errors. Like I make a joke early on that like for those that are Augustinators, you know, the celebrity worship of Prince Augustine, like if you're really an Augustinator, turn to page blank for the shirtless scene that I never wrote in the novel, never put in the novel. It does not exist, but it's something that I should fix. So there's like little things like that where they're like, wait a second, what about this thing? And I was like, oh yeah, one, as I was typing this, I accidentally put add shitless scene at castle. No, that's supposed to be the shirtless scene. My bad. I missed one letter and this is what you get, a shitless scene. But overall, not only did I find the feedback very helpful and very soothing of my main concerns, I found a whole lot of places, let me see. I have like a legal pad full of notes for the person that I lent out my copy to go through kind of page by page, and my co-writer did the same kind of thing. So I have some fun stuff that I'm gonna get to play around with as I start this new draft. You know, the craziest part though, they both were like, you know, you can make a sequel out of this if you want to. Never had that thought entered my mind. And then I was like, oh, did I not properly wrap up the story then that you think there's gonna be a sequel or needs to be a sequel? And both of them thankfully were like, no, it felt resolved. They're just saying that I could have one if I wanted. And I think there's something fun in that. Literally, I never thought about that. I don't remember ever, I hit myself harder than I meant to. I don't remember thinking about that. I meant this and have always meant this and continue to mean this to be a standalone novel. And I think part of the reason for that is that there's a romance of sorts between the characters, but also like not really. They've both been through so much over the course of this novel. And I think an element that I'd like to play with is not only was the public and the media and the attention and the Twitterverse kind of not only trying to pull them apart, but also I imagine there's some small part of the population in this, you know, made up scenario that would also try and ship them together. In my head, I always had that kind of figured out, and I was like, they wouldn't ever actually act on this kind of romance until much later down the road if they ever wanted to. And the romance wasn't the story I was telling. In a similar way to the it's not a whodunit, it's almost more like a coming of age for both of them in some respects. So that might be something that once I clean everything up and fix the timeline and add a couple of those little scenes and figure out what to do about the mom, you know, I'll give it to other beta readers and see if they feel the same kind of way, and that might be something worth considering. Okay, so I think now that I've gone through all of the feedback, I've kind of summarized it for you guys, but now all I think I need to do is figure out the timeline for when I want to get this done. I know I'm not gonna touch this during Camp NaNoWriMo. During April, it's not gonna happen. But I do think I might start working on this in May and then be done with this maybe by the time Camp NaNoWriMo in July rolls around. I think that's gonna be my goal. So I'll give myself 2 months to do the next draft of this. I did this draft, I revised it all during NaNoWriMo. I had like 10 days after NaNoWriMo, I was still working on it, as y'all might remember. But I think that's the plan. I think that's the plan. I'll give myself 2 months, and if I finish sooner than that, then all the better. But I think that's it for me and my beta reader feedback. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please do comment down below and let me know how you like to receive beta reader feedback, how you like to get beta reader feedback, if you also like to print out your novel like this. Do you set timelines for yourself and your stories and when things need to be done by, and do you have any experience with that propelling you forward and motivating you, or also maybe feeling a little bit lackluster if you don't meet that goal? Because I have had both. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon with a new video. Bye! I'm gonna try and pose for my thumbnail real quick while I'm thinking about it. Bye! You okay, bud?